This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television. Now, from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, JJ LeBlanc, and here is my wonderful guest, Officer Coulthard.
Thanks for having me, JJ.
No problem, no problem. First off, I just want to say thank you for what you've done in protecting this school and the students of this institution.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I've heard that you were graduated here at Canton High School. How was your experience there?
So I'm a product of all the Canton public schools. I started kindergarten at the Hanson and moved my way up from kindergarten at the Hanson to JFK, where I spent my elementary years, and I did my 3 years at the Galvin Middle School. And yeah, I'm a graduate of Canton High School myself. Back of 2003 is when I graduated here. My experience at through Canton Public Schools at Canton High School, I think, is very similar to a lot of the other kids here. I was a kid that didn't mind going to school. I loved being an athlete. Just like any other high school kid, for the most part. Classes kind of dragged here and there, but I got through it, and I was fortunate enough to graduate here and move on to college after Canton Public Schools. But they always treated me okay here. One of the reasons why I came back to Canton High School, because of my experience here, and my take on it is the things that I didn't have, or as far as I didn't have, or I wasn't a part of, or the things that I couldn't take advantage of as a student here. I try to bring that for students like you and other students who can have a different experience than I do. Like, for example, yes, I had a school resource officer in my building. He's since retired now, and he was one of the reasons why I got interested in being a police officer in law enforcement. But we certainly didn't have this kind of dynamic where I was always in the building and I could talk and I can chat it up like that, because there was only one at the time, and he bounced around to a number of different schools and things like that. So with me, my presence being here at Canton High School a lot more, I kind of want to connect. I think I have a better opportunity to connect with students here, and I think that's one of the things I like about my job so much. And that's all because of me being a product of Canton Public Schools and Canton High School.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You say that you were like an athlete. What sports did you play?
When I was here, I was a two-sport athlete. Played football and basketball while I was here. It was great. A lot of fun. Loved being an athlete.
How has being on a team helped you with your police work, with working with other officers and adults and everything?
So I think a lot of my personality, a lot of my drive, a lot of what I do is because I was an athlete. Like you said, being a part of a team, working together, coming together as for one common goal, getting through the good, getting through the bad, all are very good concept, very good characteristic traits that I felt like I gained from being an athlete here at Canton High School. Being on time, coming to practice every day, even though you don't want it. Those are things, even though you don't want to. Discipline, accountability, all those things. Yeah, you learn at a young age, and I learned that here at Canton High School, being a part of teams.
Well, as some people might not know, me and you are from Haiti. How has Haiti shaped you into the man that you are and the man you want to continue to be, and maybe even raise your daughters, your kids in that same way?
So I'm not actually from there, but my parents are. I was actually born here in the United States, but my parents emigrated from Haiti, many years ago, and all my brothers and sisters were all raised here in the United States. As far as the Haitian culture, I think I'm a little old school versus what I'm seeing here now. I grew up in a very, very strict Baptist Haitian household. The old saying goes, all my Haitians in the school say, like, when I grew up, it was la caille, l'école, l'église. That's it. Like that's all I ever knew about. That's all it ever was. That's all that ever mattered to them, right? Because I was the youngest, I think in my family, I have two older siblings three older siblings, excuse me, two older brothers and an older sister. I think they were a lot lighter than me because I was able to play sports and things and do things like that, where my older brothers and sisters didn't have that opportunity because at the time my parents didn't think that they were important. Now it certainly has changed, but it was just a strict household, and I think because of that is where I garner a lot of my values. You know, we work hard. We provide for our families. They value the importance of education. All of that is, again, one of the reasons why I came back to Canton High School and got in the position to where I am, because I value those things. And that's why I'm back. And I think my upbringing allowed me to continue to be successful in policing and law enforcement, right? Because our values and our standards are so high, I think that's what enabled me to do so well in the position and the role that I am in right now in law enforcement. And hopefully it continues to be that way, you know? But there's no doubt that a lot of the morals and the characteristics that I have is because of Mama Cotard and Papa Cotard, you know what I mean? They drilled into me hard to be a good person and to have high character and to do the right thing, and that people are always watching and to have high morals, and that's a lot of that comes from them, you know.
With that being said, you speak on morals, and how has you yourself evolved to see other people, especially people that look like me and you?
Mm-hmm.
How have you helped them to say, hey, you can do this, but sometimes it might cost you this? Like, let's say a young black man wants to be a police officer like you.
Sure.
What steps does he have to take to become that?
That's great, and I think that's one of the reasons why, again, one of the reasons why I became a school resource officer, and I'm back here at Canton High School, and I'm doing these things so people like you can have this conversation with me, right? Like, hey, you graduated from here, Officer Cotard, you did that, how did you do it? Well, I gotta tell you, when I was 16, 15 years old, sitting at Canton High School, if someone came up to me and said, hey, you know, you're gonna be a police officer, you're gonna come back and work at Canton High School, I would have thought you were crazy. No way, like, no. I actually didn't get interested in my career choice until I went to college, and I was fortunate enough after graduating from Canton High School, I went to Bridgewater State, where I studied criminal justice, and that's where I got my love for it. When we talk about young black and brown kids and going into college and doing the next step and all that stuff, I think it's important. And I want to say to myself that I'm a role model to you young cats, that, hey, I did it and I graduated from the same space that you guys did. You guys can do it too. You just got to find what you love. Luckily, I was fortunate enough where I was, I studied I liked what I studied, and I was able to take a career out of it and get a positive career out of it, come back to Canton High School and come back and start working with youth. Something that I value highly, and hopefully I can hold on to doing this for a very long time, because that's my plan. But it all started here at Canton High School. It all started by me, you know, taking an exam, getting a degree, you do well enough on the police exam, you go through a couple interviews, and if they like you enough, they send you to the academy. And that's kind of how it all starts.
I'm guessing they liked you very much then.
I think I did so. I'm still here, 16 years strong, and, you know, 8 years in the schools, or going on 9 years, I think, in the school. So, you know, hey, as long as they'll keep me, I'll keep working, that's for sure.
What obstacles did you face to become a police officer and a school resource officer?
Obstacles. I don't know if I would call them obstacles, but there's certainly some things that you have to get through, right? Like, to become a police officer, the first things first is you got to take the exam, right? Like, if you want to do this job, a firefighter, any kind of civil service job, correctional office, anything, requires you take the exam, all right? That comes, back in my day when I was first getting on, it was bi-yearly, but it comes in annually now. You sign up, you take the test, you sit down behind a piece of paper for a couple hours, and you just get writing, and you test out. Fortunately for me, when I took the test, I was the #1 civilian on the test, so I topped it. I did really well on it, and shockingly enough, I found out that Canton PD was interested in me from my old school resource officer, who I had a connection with.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the Thanksgiving football game, and I came back because I was an athlete, and I came back and I wanted to see the game. And one of my buddies came up to me and he was like, "Hey, you know, Officer Cooley, the old school resource officer, he's looking for you. He wants to talk to you." I was like, "Oh, all right." And he found me. He goes, "Dude, you took the exam?" I said, "Yeah, I took it." He was like, "I know, you topped it." And I was like, "Yeah, I thought I did okay." It's like, "No, you topped it. Like, they're gonna be calling you. They're gonna be interested in you. You might get on here." I was like, "Whoa!" And that's when it all went from fruition. He said, "I saw your name on the list. You're gonna move up here." And that's when I kind of started to take it a little bit more serious. Like, whoa, wow, I did well, and I think I got some interest. So I got myself in shape, started getting back in the gym. They called me back for interviews. You do a couple of interviews. They sent me, and they hired me part-time initially. You got to go through one. At the time, I had to go through a part-time academy, which was about 3 months long, 3 or 4 months long. A lot of schoolwork, a lot of book work. Once I graduated there, they immediately hired me full-time, which was cool. And I was able to work the street for being on the road for about 90 days before they had to send me to a full-time academy. I did my full-time academy training at the MPTC T Academy, MBTA Transit Police Academy. That's about 6 or 7 months of pretty hard, grueling training. A lot of PT, a lot of physical training, a lot of book work, a lot of law work, and it's, you know, every day for 9 hours, 10 hours a day, where you learn how to be a cop. Is it easy? No. Is it impossible? No. And I think that's what's important. The training is not easy, but it's not impossible. And so I was fortunate enough to graduate one of the top of my class. I was the vice president of my class, and you find me in the seat in this chair where I am today. And I kind of parlayed a 16-year career into being a juvenile investigator and a school resource officer here at Canton High School. And honestly, man, I wouldn't have it any other way.
There's 2 questions I want to say out to you, but kind of combines into one.
Sure.
Explain why you went to college and why did you pick the police work, and do you have any background in your family about doing things for the community, like police work, firefighters, medics, nurses?
Okay. So in my family, no. I am the first civil servant in my family as far as police work, firefighter work. So I'm the first. I was the one that wanted to do this. And what was the other part of your question again, JJ? I'm sorry.
Why did you go to college, and why did you pick police work?
I wanted to go to college because it was something that my parents instilled in us, that it was something that we wanted to do. My brothers and sisters all went to college and graduated and things, so I knew that was going to be my path. I wanted to choose a school where I can continue to be an athlete, and I was fortunate enough to continue to play football over at Bridgewater, and I had a lot of fun, met a lot of great guys there while playing. I wanted to stay local. I knew I was going to pay a good portion of college out of my own pocket, so that's why I went to a smaller school, local public school, so I can pay off my student loans ASAP, and didn't want to tackle a big tuition. So that's why I chose Bridgewater State, and plus I still had the opportunity to play football. So shockingly enough, though, when I graduated from Canton High School, I went in initially to Bridgewater State as a computer science major, because I was into computer science and coding and gaming and all that stuff. But I took my first semester at Bridgewater State while playing football. I was taking these classes, and I did well in the classes. I was getting good grades. But I said to myself, I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And so I got some advice from some student advisors on my football team, and I went and talked to my advisor, and I got the advice to take a couple of criminal justice courses because it's a super popular major here at Bridgewater State where people find a lot of success in, and people like the classes. So I took the second semester, I took a couple of criminal justice courses, just a basic 101, 100 courses, and I fell in love. And once I started to love what I learned, that's when I knew, like, hey, this is my path. This is what I wanted to do. And that's how it started.
Can you take us through the process of becoming a police officer?
Yeah, like I said previously, the first thing you want to do is take the exam. After taking the exam, based on your scores, you have a choice on when you take the exam on where you want to send your scores to, right? So I had 5 or 6 different places I sent my exams to: Canton, Sharon, Stoughton, Milton. I can't remember all of them, but area towns around Canton is when I sent my exams scores to. Based on where you send your exam scores in and how high you got on your exam, you get placed on a list, and that's how civil service does it. And then from the list is when they select you. After interview processes, after a thorough background check, they'll invite you to sign on, and then you go do your academy training. Now, I went to 2 different academies, but it's a little different now. And after the academy training, after you complete that, you sign on, you go to graduation, you get pinned, and you start working the street. When you work the street, you go through what's called field training. And during field training, they give you the gist of what it's like working the street. And I worked midnight shifts for many, many years until I was fortunate enough to get this gig as a school resource officer. And that's where I am right now.
It goes to the day-to-day of being a resource officer and just like a police officer like around the town of Canton.
So the thing is, man, what's great about my job and what's great about what I do is that the day-to-day changes all the time, right? I really don't know who you're going to walk into when you clock in on shift for a midnight shift or a day shift. You don't know what's going to happen. You just go from essentially call to call. But for the most part, a majority of my day is just making sure and maintaining here. We're talking about my day here at Canton High School is just maintaining a presence around here, supporting the staff and the administration on whatever they ask me to do or whatever they have me do. Because I work with juveniles and a lot of the work that I do is sensitive. I can't, for the sake of the sensitivity and because of laws and things like that, I can't go into great detail on what I do. But just know that a majority of my job is for you guys. It's for you. Is to make sure you guys are safe, that you have an opportunity to use me as a resource to make sure that your school is safe, and to be a mentor and a counselor to you guys. And that's primarily my goal.
Can you describe the duties of school resource officer?
So there's 3 main functions and main duties that we as a school officer like to perform while we're here. 1, obviously safety and security, right? We want to make sure that the grounds for all guests, staff, teachers, students is safe around here. 2, we're an informal counselor, whereas you can use me as a mentor or a counselor to kind of get you through your day-to-day. If things are happening at home or things are happening outside of school or in school, I'm an additional resource within the building to help you guys navigate that. And lastly, a special guest educator. Things like I'm doing right now, getting into the classrooms, teaching you guys about whatever, what have you, all sorts of different functions and things. Like I'm a guest speaker in forensics and you know, I help Mr. Goff out at street law and a number of other things.
I just want to say thank you for being my guest today. It was very nice, and the information that you gave me is very helpful.
Great.
We appreciate everything that you do to keep us safe at this school.
Thank you,
I just want to say
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, man. Great having you. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem.
Our crew today is Nicholas Jaluli, Giovanni DeStasio, Maeve Hickey, Casey Lee, Lazarus McCarthy, Ryan Neeser, Jack Norton,
Next.
John Pasidi, Mustafi. Brought to you by the student station in Canton Community Television.
What do these people have in common? Sportscaster Bill Titus at Fenway Park. Reporter Kylie Gaylor at KVVU Las Vegas. Or me, Dylan Lorenko of the JFK School. We all got our start on Canton Community Television, TV worth watching.
Each year, TV1 students learn each position by rotating jobs in a show we call Groundhog Day. We had 4 different classes compete. This year was judged by Daniel Sheehy, a Canton High graduate who now works as the script supervisor for the Drew Barrymore Show and is an associate director of the NBC Weekend News in New York City. He chose Period D and wrote, "The Bulldog and Phil puppeteers and voice actors sell the characters well," a highlight of the show. The shots were also very well framed. Congratulations to D. Period, this year's winner of the Groundhog Day Show. Let's see their entry.
This program is brought to you by Kansas Community Television, now from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, Bulldog. Groundhog Day is a popular tradition in the United States. It is the day the groundhog comes out of its hole after a long winter sleep looking for a shadow. Today in the Dog Pound, we have with us groundhogs himself, Mr. Puxathon and Phil.
Thank you, Bo. It's a pleasure to be here.
Phil, you have a big day every year. Tell us about it.
Each year in the morning of February 2nd, I come out of my burrow on Gobbler's Knob in front of thousands of followers from all over the world to predict the weather for the rest of the winter.
How is that done?
According to the legend himself, if I see my shadow, there will be 6 more weeks of winter weather. If I don't see it, there will be an early spring.
Amazing. Now in 1993, Columbia Pictures released the movie Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray. What are your thoughts on the film?
Well, I owe a big debt to Mr. Murray. He's a cynical weatherman who's forced to continuously relive the worst day of his life until he learns to become a better person. I happen to have a central role in the movie. In the years following the release of the film, record crowds numbering as high as 30,000 have visited Gobbler's Knob and Puxatawny. You can't pay for that type of publicity.
I can't thank you enough for your time today. I know you need to get back to your burrow and rest up for the big day. With lucky, it will be a cloudy day, so spring. You will arrive soon. For Canton Community Television, this is Bulldog with Puxathawny Phil from the Dog Pound.
Jacob Richmond as the producer, Luca Burns as the studio display, Neve DeRosa as the announcer, Benjamin Stark as the audio technician, JJ Falk as the tech director, Nicholas Sacheri as the character judge, Bridie Bell as camera person 1, Jerome Weeks as camera person 2, Riley Blake as camera person 3, Styles Swangen as Bulldog voice, Cameron Conley as Groundhog voice, Aiden O'Toole as the Bulldog puppeteer, Brady Hart as the floor manager.
Boy, it's awfully cool out here. But you know what's even cooler? The Student Station on Canton Community Television.
This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television, now from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, Jacob Richmond. Today we have Pakrit Iyer, who will talk about his career in sports. Thanks for being on our show today, Pakrit. Now, let's talk about you.
All right.
Can you tell us when you started doing wrestling?
Well, this season's my first with wrestling. We've been doing it for about a month now, a month, 5 weeks maybe. We're doing well so far. I'm really liking it. I think it's a great, hard sport, and yeah, really enjoying it.
That's nice. Can you tell us what you do in each practice?
Usually there's a lot of conditioning and a lot of technique focus. We usually work in partners or groups to focus on drills, and we practice different moves. And when we're not doing that, we're usually working on our stamina and endurance for matches, because matches tend to get really hard, especially in the third period. So we do a lot of stairs, we hit a lot of sprints, and yeah, I guess hard.
What do some of those groups look like?
Usually the groups are divided by people that are like similar in size and weight. So for me, it would be people like around my size and weight, which would be other freshmen and some sophomores.
All right. Can you tell us what do you see yourself doing wrestling later in life?
Yeah, I think if I just keep staying consistent, I could have a spot later. And yeah.
Do you plan to go college wrestling?
I would hope to. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's a long road, but I think if I work hard, I'll be able to do it.
Have you had any struggles being on varsity wrestling as a freshman?
Yeah, I have. There are a few. One of the biggest ones is going to be experience. So a lot of the other guys that I face end up having a lot more experience because they're like older. They have more years on the team. Being a freshman, it's a challenge, but it also makes me better. So yeah.
So along the lines of the people you're against, like, are there any like people that you struggle against, like specifically?
There are a few, especially kids from like some of the better towns, like Franklin, North Attleboro, teams like those. They usually have really strong lineups with like sophomores and juniors and seniors, and the lower weight classes are always pretty hard because it's a lot more demanding physically because of the it's a lot more fast paced. So yeah, takes some getting used to.
Would you say there are more people in your weight class than other weight classes?
Not usually. For our team, I'm the only one in our weight class. I'm in the weight class of 113 pounds. And on our team, I'm the only one. So, yeah.
Like, how much conditioning and practice, like, does it require?
It takes a lot. A match only lasts 6 minutes, but it gets really difficult, so proper conditioning is required. So usually we spend around 25 to 30 minutes each practice.
Just conditioning?
Yeah, just conditioning, running.
What are like the hardest like aspects of that?
Some of the hardest bits of that would definitely be like stairs, and like stairs can get really hard, especially last night. Last night we ran stairs, but we also had to run with dummies on our backs, so that was like 65, 80 pounds on us, and we ended up running for about like an hour yesterday, and yeah, got hard.
Nice. Are there any people who inspired you to do wrestling or soccer?
Wrestling, not so much, but soccer. My family's always been a really big soccer family. My dad used to play in college, and my grandpa used to coach a team. So I've always had a passion for soccer, and yeah.
What team did your grandpa teach?
He used to coach a team in India. Yeah.
So you go to India often?
Yeah, sometimes. Usually my family takes vacations there over summer break. Yeah, we have a lot of family there. I always love going there, seeing the people, and having the authentic food.
So when did you like start playing soccer?
This year was my first year playing soccer on an actual team, but I've always played with like my father and my grandfather before he passed away. And yeah, I've always enjoyed playing soccer. I think it's one of the best sports on earth, and it's just really fun.
That's good. Can you tell us about your previous soccer season?
This season, I was on JV soccer, and our team did better than a lot of the other years, and I think we're going to see some real improvement over the next couple of years coming.
Is there anything you would change about this season?
I would definitely want to go back and tell myself to work harder because the season really flew by, and I feel like if I put in more work, then I could have seen a lot more improvement and gotten a lot more out of it.
What are some areas of improvement you could see for yourself?
One thing would definitely have to be my stamina, because the position that I used to play was an outside midfielder, which required a lot of running. So one of the areas I would need to focus on was my stamina to be able to go up and down the field a lot more.
Do you think if you continue to do wrestling, that would also help you with your soccer?
Yeah, I think it really would. Wrestling's been keeping me in shape, and yeah, I think it's definitely improving my conditioning, which is definitely going to make a big impact on soccer next season.
So, like, what struggles have you faced in soccer?
This year was my first time playing on an actual team, so I didn't know a lot of like strategies or formations, so that took a good bit of getting used to. But playing alongside my team, I learned a lot, and my teammates and my coach really helped me out, and I think I really got better.
Do you hope to be like varsity soccer next year?
Yeah, I hope. I'm on the grind, but yeah, it's a long road.
You practice at home a lot?
Yeah, I do. If I have free time, I'll usually go to the turf with a few of my friends, and we usually practice, play a few games of pickup.
Oh, what position do you play in soccer?
I play outside midfielder. So what that is, it's in the middle of the field, but typically we go box to box from each end, and we switch between offense and defense.
That's good. How do your position help the team, like, fit in?
My job was mostly to like keep the wings safe from other players on the other team coming down the wings, as well as helping my team get the ball inside the box for the strikers to finish.
Okay. Do you plan to continue to play soccer or wrestling?
Yeah, I do. I think soccer and wrestling have definitely been one of my favorite sports that I've tried so far. And I do look forward to continuing them next year and probably all the way up until my senior year.
Have you tried any other sports in your life?
Yeah, I've tried basketball for a bit, which is a winter sport, but so is wrestling. So this year I thought I'd try wrestling instead of basketball, but I might try basketball in the future.
Were you good at basketball?
I was all right. I wasn't the best, but, there's always room for improvement.
What position were you playing in basketball when you did play?
I used to play point guard, which it's a hard position, but not the hardest, not the easiest.
Would you consider doing any other sports other than the three you've mentioned?
I'm still looking into spring track or maybe some other spring sports to keep me busy during the season. But yeah, that's about it.
Along like spring sports, you plan it like you mentioned that you were wanting to do one. Were there any like specifics that you would want to do?
Oh yeah, I was looking into spring track. I'm still thinking I'm deciding between that and baseball because both of those seem pretty interesting to me. So I would hope to try either one of those.
You've ever done either of those or no?
No, I haven't. I used to play baseball a little bit in my childhood, but that was a long time ago, so I'm a little rusty.
Can you like talk about your childhood and like when you were you on any like teams for that or no?
Yeah, for baseball I was actually on the Little Leagues team back when I was in second grade. Growing up I played a good bit of sports. That was mainly because of my family, especially my father and my grandfather, because both of them were really like sports fanatics. So I grew up playing a lot of sports. I played soccer with them. My dad suggested for me to try baseball when I was a kid. I played badminton. Yeah, a bunch of those sports.
Like what advice would you give to other people playing these sports that you've mentioned?
The big thing with sports is to stay consistent. A lot of you might not see improvement early on, but that'll come with hard work and staying consistent. And I feel like that's one of the big things that people like skip out on. Like they think coming in once or twice, working hard, and then slacking off the rest of the time is going to help them improve. It's not. Like, as long as you just keep working hard and you stay consistent with it, you're going to see improvement, and you can only get out what you put in.
Along the lines of that, are there any other people that you would want to see take up one of these sports?
Yeah, I know a lot of the incoming freshmen next year, and I really hope to see them on some of the teams that I play on, like soccer and wrestling. I know a lot of them have some really good potential to fit in and do well in all of those sports. So yeah, I look forward to seeing them.
Are there any like celebrities that you look up to in these sports, or?
My soccer idol is really Messi, which a lot of people say that he's the greatest of all time, which I think I agree with. And wrestling, not so much, because it's still kind of a new sport to me, so I'm still trying to find my way.
What would you say to people that don't think Messi's the greatest?
I only have one thing to say to you, and that's you're wrong. Like, if you think Ronaldo's better, he's not.
What about wrestling?
Wrestling, I feel like there's a lot of great competitors out there, and my favorite's probably like Bo Bassett, who's kind of close to me in weight. I think he competes in the 120 or 126 category. And yeah, I think he's a real respectable guy. He's hardworking, he's consistent, and I think all aspiring athletes should learn how to be like him.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But would you also say that you would want to go pro in any of these sports?
I would hope to. I feel like any athlete that takes up a sport, one of your end goals should always be to try to like make it pro, even if you don't really mean it. Because as long as you like have a little bit in the back of your head where you believe that you want to make it pro, you'll always see improvement because you always have that drive to get better.
In soccer, were there any teams that you would specifically want to play for?
My favorite team right now is probably Manchester City, and if I grow up, I would definitely love to play for that team along with some of my favorite players like Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne.
So have they influenced your like decision to like continue to play soccer, like wanting to like, play with them?
Yeah, Erling Haaland's probably one of my favorite players right now, and he plays the position of striker, which has really like inspired me to want to be a striker myself and score more goals and, you know, make big leaps for the team.
Yeah, so like what positions do they play?
Kevin De Bruyne, who's one of my favorite players right now as well, he plays in the midfield, and him and Erling Haaland, who plays striker, they're a really good duo, and you see them scoring a lot of goals together, getting great assists, making clips, highlights, all of that.
You think you'd fit in with their like style of play?
I respect their style of play. I think it's really fast-paced and aggressive, which is a lot of what I want to play in soccer, and I hope that our team next year can also try and emulate that.
And people on the team now that you would want to like continue playing with you?
Yeah, absolutely. There were some really great candidates this year who were a lot better than me, and I really hope to see some of them on the team next year as well. Some of them are for surely going to make varsity next year, so congratulations to them. And for the people that are going to be on JV next year, I think you should also be striving to make varsity, because everybody should always be looking to get better.
On the lines of that, would there be anybody on varsity you want to play with specifically?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that I respect on the varsity team, like Zaza, Vlad. A lot of the freshmen that made varsity this year, I respect the heck out of them for that too, because they've been playing soccer since they were really young, and they've been staying consistent. They've always worked hard, and you see the reward that they get out of that, and that's like a spot on varsity as freshmen, which is really impressive.
As a freshman, was there like a big like pressure to get on varsity?
Not quite. I'd say most freshmen expected to be on JV, which you did see. Like there was a good 7 or 8 kids that tried out, and a lot of them made varsity, but there was also a good few that made JV alongside me. And I really hope to see them playing next year too, because I've seen some big improvements in them, and I think they have the potential to make it far.
Thanks, Prit, for sharing about your soccer and wrestling career today. For Canton Community Television, I'm your host, Jacob Richmond. Thanks for watching.
Host, Jacob Richmond. Producer, Nick Ruggieri. Talent wrangler, Joey Ryan. Script supervisor, Ben Stark. Studio display, Sean Sullivan. Announcer / audio assist, PA monitor, Styles Schwangel. Audio technician, Cameron Washburn. Tech director, Jerome Weeks. Show director, Birdie Bell. CG, Riley Blake. Set photographer, Luca Burns. Camera person 1, Cameron Conley. Camera person 2, Neve DeRosa. Camera person 3, Nick Dietrich. PA and Slate, Josiah Folk. Camera manager, Birdie Hart. Show evaluator. Canton Community Television.
So you have a message.
The Student Station, Canton Community Television.
The Student Station on Comcast 6 and Verizon 41, or on Verizon HD 2143 and Comcast HD 1073. Streamed at CantonCommunityTV.org.